Okay, so this is a video that honestly I kind of didn't want to make, and I always try to be as nuanced as I can, and I know that's really really difficult um, in this day and age because we see something and we immediately want to jump to the most extreme conclusion on either side. Okay, but unfortunately, as more comes out, and this is why we wait, as more comes out, it just keeps getting worse and worse. Um, and of course, I'm talking about the David Coote situation, the English referee that was plastered all over social media. And it kind of started out, I don't want to say innocently enough, because obviously there wasn't anything super innocent about what he was doing, but it kind of started out where there was a video leaked of him where it showed that he was calling Jurgen Klopp the C word, right? And let me, I'm going to try to do this as best I can. I got a couple of screen grabs, and I don't want to really show the video. But okay, he looks very out of it, right? And it's this video right here. It's that screen grab. And he looks very very out of it. He looks clearly. Again, I don't want to make assumptions. I'm not trying to do that. But it does appear as though he had more than a few drinks, and let's just leave it at that. Allegedly, all right. That's just what it looks like. And this was filmed. I think it was in 2020 during lockdown, or yeah, around there. So it was probably about 4 years ago, right? And it's all coming to light now. And he's just talking about how he hates Liverpool, the Scousers. He hates Jurgen Klopp very specifically, and he likes James Milner. So there is that. And of course, everybody jumps to conclusions. There's so many matches that he wasn't even a part of that got roped into. Remember when we got this decision? Remember when we got this decision? Remember when we okay. Let's I'll take a beat here. All right. But anyway, so of course it's gonna call already right there. I think it's gonna call into question everybody's antennas were raised, and everybody was saying, massive fraud. Let's get rid of him. Stone him. Whatever. Okay. So now to reel it back, people were like, "Well, okay, why don't we time out this and think about it?" I think David Coote is a person, so I'm sure that he's gonna have some sort of bias. And you saw that a couple different places as well. And to be fair, this was, the timelines between what they're kind of reporting and what they're saying and what they're not is a little bit different. But this guy, Richard Keys, apparently disgraced. He said, "Hey, we've all done dumb things, right?" He's clearly in the wrong for that. But let's not sack him, okay? Which I thought, honestly, go for it. I thought just that's it, because I think as an association, I don't think that the PGMOL, first of all, under the heavy scrutiny that they're already under, and then you have a referee openly saying this, however it got out, unfortunately for him, it did. There is consequences, right? But there's people that are overcorrecting, like, okay, don't let cancel culture get to you, right? Like, let's reel it back, and we're trying to bring it back, and we're trying to say, maybe he shouldn't get fired completely. And again, there is some valid points to that, right? There is some sort of, like, he is a person. No matter the person, you grow up in England, you work your way through the refereeing, but you grow up in England. It is such a part of the culture that there's bound to be your own biases that you're trying to suppress at all times, right? I get that. I really I see what people are talking about. You grow up in London, you're bound to have some sort of like, I grew up an Arsenal fan, right? And again, I'm not saying that they're automatically going to be bad referees or that they're automatically going to have those biases. I'm saying I understand that people have those backgrounds, that they're a person. When they're not a referee, they root for a certain team. I get that. But I think this is an unfortunate case, again, up to that point where it looks like I think you're just going to have to not be a referee for a little bit, right? I think for sure not Liverpool games, and for sure why don't you just time out for a little bit? Why don't you just sit out? And I think that would have been a fairly measured response. I would have thought, okay, like that's not, he doesn't deserve to just end it for that, but at the same time, that's not good. So he does deserve some sort of, there does need to be some sort of repercussion. And then more stuff started coming out, okay? And then it started getting a little bad. Where I don't this okay, it's redacted here, if you will. But then he started coming out and he's snorting a white substance per the picture. Nobody's saying what it is, but he's snorting a substance. What was it? He was trying to organize, like, allegedly drug and I guess parties with female companionship, and they were doing that not only in England, and he was doing that during half times of games, or either he was at VAR. I think he was during VAR at halftime at games, or like during the games where he was a ref. I wasn't entirely sure, but it was the report was like it was during half times. It's no longer cancel culture. There's no job. There is none where you could just try to casually and like, don't come at me with like, damn, can a man have a hobby? Like, this is not it. This is, dude, you can't be fucking doing drugs allegedly and setting up, female companionship parties with your coworkers. That's just not what you do. And I think, again, if you're running the head of referees and this is what's happening, first of all, it's happening under your nose, you need a tighter ship. Second of all, you don't want that associated with you. That dirties the integrity of the game, that dirties the integrity of your organization. I'm sorry, it does. And if you don't know that, or if you don't see that, then that's your problem. But this is why everybody, to a man, says the English refereeing is the worst they've ever seen. You never know what you're fucking getting in these games. Like, you have to clock in, like, yeah, we might do good or might do not good, but I don't know what kind of referee I'm getting today. I don't know if this referee knows what a handball is or doesn't. I don't know if the VAR is going to call for him or they're not. I don't know if VAR is going to draw the lines correctly or they're not. And this has been a gigantic problem. And even bigger than that, because I truly do think that it is, even bigger than that is that you have people that still put the cape on and cape for these referees. I understand that they have a difficult job. I understand that they're people. Nobody's saying kill them. Nobody's saying just like they shouldn't exist. Nobody's saying harass them. Nobody's saying harass their families. Nobody is calling for any of that. But people, I think, are justifiably saying these people shouldn't work. These people, it keeps happening week in, week out for at least 2 years now, if not more. And you do absolutely nothing except for gaslight us and except for, just nothing. You do absolutely nothing. And we're like, please do something, and you get mad at us. Like, I can't. And again, like I said, you have these people that put the capes on. You have ex-referee, what's the little baldy? Mike Dean. You have Mike Dean. Let's take a look at this. You have Mike Dean. It's so out of character for him. First of all, I don't think you knew his character, Mike. Second of all, he just justifies everything and anything referees do. And it's like, you're not objective. Again, you can give us the perspective. Oh, maybe they were thinking this. Maybe they made this mistake. I understand that. That's totally cool. I get that. Maybe they made a mistake. Okay, I understand that. But he's doing it to justify. He's saying these referees, no, not right now. He's saying these referees should not be crucified the way they are. He's saying, as a referee, you can put yourself in that position. You can say things aren't camera. Like referees have never done anything wrong to Mike Dean. Referees, that's my mate. It's out of character for him. That's not what he's like. X, Y, Z. They never ever do anything wrong, and that's not right now. Come on, not right now. And that's honestly the biggest problem. Is that he's never met a referee that did anything wrong. He never has. And then you have people, again, I listened to some of this conversation with Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher, and he's like, well, I just don't think, he shouldn't be able to referee ever again. And to try to be as fair as I can, I think this was before all of the other situations came up, right? Where it was just where he called Jurgen Klopp the C word. And it's like, this is why there's no accountability, because you're caping for these people. Like, Howard Webb does nothing. Like, and Gary Neville, it's the same thing. It's the exact same thing. Like, they have absolutely no accountability. They call for nothing. They call for none of it. And it's like, that's why shit doesn't change. Because they've never done anything wrong. So why would anything change? You have to be able to look in the mirror and say, damn, you know what? We messed that one up. How do we change that going forward? How do we do X, Y, Z? And it just doesn't happen. Instead, they kick you in the leg and they're like, well, it's your fault because it was in my way of me swinging my leg. They've never done anything wrong. I swear, if Jeffrey Dahmer was a referee, Mike Dean would have been like, listen, that's crazy, because he's actually a fantastic lad. He volunteered, he does, he was a great dude. Like, it's comical at this point. It really is. And it's so frustrating to see, again, that it's just like, how do we do the most to never hold anybody accountable? And that's been my thing for the longest time, is that we just call for overprotection. We call for, we'll think of his future, and we call for, just anything except for accountability. I think at a certain point, and again, Gary Neville does call for David Coote too. have some sort of suspension, but I don't want to ruin his life. Cancel culture. He mentions cancel culture. It is the most annoying thing I've ever heard. This isn't fucking cancel culture, man. He's calling his clients, he's calling people he directly has effect on, like, bad words. Allegedly he's doing drugs. Allegedly he's like all these group of referees. He's setting these things up, and it's like, that's not fucking cancel culture, man. That like, there's nowhere that you could work that you could be able to do that and just be like, fucking cancel culture got me, bro. I'm in an interview at a job. Hey, what happened in your last job? Fucking cancel culture, bro. All I did was try to do drugs, but they just want to ruin my life. Don't do fucking drugs. Do your job correctly. I don't know. Is that such a novel concept for people? It drives me up a wall. And again, I don't expect people to be perfect. I don't. Have some accountability. Please, have some accountability. And again, I know it's easy to go to extremes on anything. It really is. It's so easy to go to extremes on everything. But we're not calling for extremes. Gary Neville should not call for extremes. Jamie Carragher should not call for extremes. Okay? Roy Keane, Sky Sports, anybody, people that commentate on the game, right, should not call for extremes. But you should always count for accountability. Whatever that looks like and whatever that means. Accountability, it's such a simple concept. If you do something, something happens. You know, if you do a good job, you'll get rewarded. If you do a bad job, maybe you don't get rewarded. And if you do crimes, then maybe you shouldn't be where you are at the time, right? Again, should he have a second chance? Sure. Nobody's saying that he should be done. Nobody's saying, like, banish him from the realm. He is done. But there is and should be some accountability to show, like, hey, we take this serious. Because now you're going to have, again, all of it comes down to, you come to a point where now every decision is just going to become under scrutiny. It's just going to come under scrutiny. No, not right now. She sees that I'm upset and she wants to calm me down, which I appreciate, but not right now. Now just every decision comes under scrutiny. I think one that we were calling for, this was before any allegations. How is the referee not going to the VAR to see that clear and obvious handball? And then, of course, he was also on VAR, and he didn't want to do anything. The offsides, he thought the offsides negated anything that Pickford did, which was a blatant and obvious foul on Virgil van Dijk. Again, it's not going to repair his ACL, and it's not going to change anything now, but you need accountability, or else the integrity of the game is gone. And you have things like that with the David Coote situation, with what is apparently going on with these referees when they go on trips, and what you happen to have with, who is it? Is it Tierney? The dude that goes and referees in Saudi Arabia and then comes back and referees city games. And it just so happens that they do well in matches that he referees. Like, I don't think it's outlandish to demand professionalism and to be buttoned up of an industry that generates ungodly amounts of money, right? That I just, like, it seems the most reasonable thing to do. And so again, I think strive for nuance, right? David Coote, for as bad as he did, we don't wish bad on David Coote the person. We don't wish his life be over. We don't wish harassment or harm of him or his family or anybody associated with him, in his personal life. But unfortunately, there are consequences to your actions. And I think him not being involved in the PGMOL anymore, especially after everything that has come out, I don't think is unreasonable. It might ruin his life. I'm sorry. But if you do certain things, like, again, alleged crimes, if you're doing certain things, you can't do that. If a teacher was doing drugs on his own personal time and was talking smack about certain kids or doing whatever, I'm sorry. You shouldn't be a teacher, right? Like, whether that's your personal time, whether he thinks this, that, and the third about a kid, if that comes out, the parents find out about it, the school finds out about it, you can't be a teacher anymore. I'm sorry. There's other jobs you can do. There's just certain jobs where you just can't do that. A police officer, they're caught saying these things. They're caught, implanting evidence. Oh, well, we don't want to ruin his life. How many lives has he ruined? That's how it goes. That's how it is. You're put in positions of power. It comes with responsibility. To fucking quote Spider-Man. With great power comes great responsibility. Like, it just is what it is. We're not wishing harm on him. We're not hoping he gets canceled. Oh no, cancel culture is gonna get me. Oh no, cancel culture. But I'm sorry, there's consequences to actions. So I don't know. I just think it's ridiculous that people are calling for accountability. But we don't want to ruin his life. No. This isn't about him. All right? This is institutional to the refereeing in England. And no, we do not wish harm on David Coote. Listen, everybody deserves a second, third, fourth chance. Everybody deserves to remake their life. But you have to do it on your own time. You're not going to do that while being a referee looking over all these games. Because clearly this isn't the place for you. You just need to try something else. Try hand at something else. I'm sorry that that's how it worked out, but that's just how it goes sometimes. And I think, again, like I said, we should call it wherever we see it, and we should call for accountability. And if it was just that first part that came out, if it was just that first part where he's calling Jurgen Klopp XYZ, the integrity of the game does get scrutinized. But okay, a suspension, a suspension, and maybe he comes back. I think too much, honestly. I think too much has happened where now I think as an institution, I think the PGMOL wouldn't want to associate themselves with that. And I think that that's just for the best. I think that that's just what it is. Again, please don't let David Coote be the end of everyone calling for more accountability of the PGMOL, because it really has unraveled. And honestly, I don't even know what's worse, if Howard Webb knew or he didn't know. I don't know which one's worse, because how are you that incompetent that you don't know? But at the same time, if you know, then that is horrific and you're just letting it go. So either way, it's just not a good look for Howard Webb. I'm sorry. He'd probably have to leave as well. Again, it's just accountability. And until there is a call for accountability from these big pundits, from these big institutions in England, and from the fans, there isn't going to be any change. There really isn't. So I hope that I hope that something changes. I hope that there is some accountability, but we will just wait and see, I guess. But let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. I mean, do you think that there's a bigger problem, PGML? Do you think it's just David Coote? Do you think it's too far? Do you think it's just a witch hunt? I'm open to seeing what people think, but those are just my thoughts on it. And I don't know. It's tough to see a way in which David Coote comes back. But like I said, let me know what you think. And I've seen some of the other comments as well on one of the other videos. So I was going to try to do that, come back. I'm so bored with the international break. It's so bad. But we'll be back soon and hopefully doing live streams. Over on TikTok is where I've been doing them. And please like and subscribe. And as always, thank you so much for watching.